What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the New England Brewing Company, and they're out of Woodbridge, Connecticut, and this is their Fuzzy Baby Duck. So this is an IPA that is brewed solely with Citra hops. It comes in at 6.2% alcohol by volume, 60 IBUs, and at the time of review, this can is just under 2 months old. And I'll give a huge thanks, shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Rick, for this beer. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with. And this is the last hop forward beer that I have from Rick's box. And did I save the best for last? Hopefully, I guess we'll see. But I will say that I've enjoyed all of the New England beers that he sent my way and the New Park beers. They've been really good. This one I'm excited for, mostly because I've heard really good things about this one over the past like 5 years. And I'm really excited to give it a go. And if I enjoy this beer, I can easily grab a can of it or maybe even a 6-pack of it, because we just got a small drop of this beer here in the Western New York area. We used to get New England stuff going back, 8 to 10 years ago. Then they pulled their distro from the area, and now they're coming back. And the fact that I could get something like this after Rick sending it to me and reviewing it, if I enjoy it, that is fantastic. So we have a little spiel here on the side. It says our third single hop beer brewed with 100% Citra hops, big citrus aromas with a delicate dry malt presence, juicy resinous orangey hop flavor makes this beer a treat for lovers of hoppy beer. Drink it, it's good. Don't tell me what to do, New England. And I also love the label. There's fuzzy baby ducks on the label. Who doesn't like that? Fantastic. Let's crack it. Can't speak today. Not gonna restart the video. Not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna enjoy this one. Oh, it's rushing out a little bit. I didn't really shake it or anything, so that's interesting. So yeah. Anyway, definitely looks like an old school kind of hazy. Has that deeper orange color to it. I'll pour the entire thing in if I can fit it all in there, and I should be able to. So yeah, that actually looks beautiful pouring it out. This, has that old school kind of like New England IPA. You know what? I was gonna put it like this: fuzzy baby ducks, Joe. English words. They're hard. Throw it over here like this. I think that's the better look. Anyway, yeah, that has that like murky orange kind of look to it. Definitely can't see through it. Super hazy, murky, turbid. Has just under a 2-finger of this off-white, almost cream-colored looking head. Soap sudsy, but also pretty creamy looking. That looks beautiful, honestly. It looks like, again, an old school New England IPA of some sort, or Vermont IPA. Skin nose. Yeah, that's real nice. So they say orange. I'm getting more like tangerine. And having done a heavily fruited sour recently in a mystery beer where tangerine was the predominant note I was getting, and it turned out it was tangerine. This is more tangerine than orange for me. But yeah, you could say tangerine, you could say orange, you could say a lot of citrus, ruby red, grapefruit. Maybe a little bit of lemon. But then there's this underlying like stone fruit, peach, apricot, like a fuzzy peach. Not candied, but it's nice. And there is this slight, like, dank, kind of herbaceous vibe I'm getting from this one. It just smells to me, again, and I said this, I think, with a couple different New England beers, their Sea Hag and their G-Bot. This takes me back to, like, the mid-2010s for the first time having a lot of these New England or Vermont-style IPAs where it was just like, I really didn't smell that in a beer before. Like, they're new to me. And it's just taken me back to, like, 2016, and I'm like, yeah, this smells really good. But it still smells like a beer. A lot of hazies nowadays just smell like straight-on fruit juice. This smells like a beer. They say there's like a dry malt presence. Yeah, I can see like a little biscuity, crackery, kind of grainy malt bill. Slightly bready. But man, it smells pretty bright. And it's making my mouth water. Pretty bright, but I feel like I'm going to know this is a low ABV beer. And 6.2% is not like super low ABV, but for a lot of IPAs nowadays, you'll see IPAs as, here's a 7.5% IPA. This is going to drink more, I feel like, into the pale ale kind of realm. That's what I feel anyway. Anyway, we'll see if I'm right or not. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Rick. Yeah, that's really good. It's really good. Is it blowing my socks off? No. Did I expect it to? Definitely not. But I love that I can taste the malt a little bit in here. And it is, they say, what do they say? Dry, delicate dry malt presence. Yes. It's like a drying, almost crackery, kind of like you just ate a saltine, like without the salt on it. And I know that's weird. It's a saltine, but you know what I mean? Like a cracker with sand salt. Buying the 6.2%, this is a little bit over medium, bigger than I expected. The mouthfeel, it's not like crazy like a lot of these new school New England IPA mouthfeels are, but it's softer than I expected. It has a nice smoothness and a little bit of a creamy character. The mouthfeel is definitely nice. It's like mild to moderate carbonation, and it's smooth and creamy. The flavor, there isn't a huge complexity here, but what's here is done extremely well. There's a huge tangerine orange kind of juiciness, but it's like encompassing the entire fruit. So the first thing that hits my palate is the malt. It's, you know, crackery, little bready, little biscuity, dives right underneath, right? It's there, omnipresent, never steps in the way, props up all the hop character. Then right after that, I get like a juicy orange that then starts to dissipate into more of like a pithy orange. And by the time it transitions into the peach and apricot I'm getting, there's less of a dryness, or less of a sweetness. So that middle of the palate, I get more of like an underripened, like white peach, underripened apricot. But then as it finishes, there's a little bit of sweetness that kicks in. And it almost has like this tropical, like slight pineapple vibe. Pineapple, maybe mango, something like that. It finishes semi to full on dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. So the dryness and bitterness are working hand in hand to kind of balance this one out. It's not overly sweet up front. So this actually, I think, finishes more dry and bitter than I anticipated, which is welcomed. I mentioned before in numerous reviews over the last year or so that my palate itself is welcoming more bitterness, more dryness, and a little less sweetness, especially on the finish. And I think this is providing it. 6.2%, you can't tell. Very easygoing 6.2% IPA with Citra hops. What they said is pretty much, they say resinous orange. Yep, there's maybe a little bit of like a resinous, there's a little bit of like a resinous pine, slight resinous pine. It's a resinous hop character in general, but I'd say more piney than anything, maybe a touch of earthiness. What I like about it though is my palate's pretty dry, but it's not like crazy dry. It's just dry enough where I want to go back for a sip and rinse and repeat. This is pretty good. I still think from New England, between this, he sent me the Super Knot, the Sea Hag, and then the two G-Bots. G-Bot still is my favorite of the bunch. Although I think this is right behind it. So Fuzzy Baby Ducks from New England. I have no issues whatsoever giving this beer right here a, I'll go low 4.2, no, I'll go straight up 4.25. I think that's where this one lands with me. I'm going to see if I can get this a little fresher. Not that this was old. Like when Rick sent me this package, this beer was probably like a month old. The problem is I had so many other beers that were a little bit older that I had to get to. So I can't, drink as much beer. So this one sat in the fridge for like 3 weeks, almost a month. It is what it is. So if I can pick up a can of this and it's like, 3 or 4 weeks old, I'll give it a go. I'm not going to re-review it, but I'm curious to see how this one is a little bit fresher. But as is, I'm giving this beer, a 4.25 out of 5. It's still a really good beer. And again, this harkens back to the days for me of drinking, beers 2016 and just being kind of blown away by the characters in the beers. It's like, it's kind of wild now. Price point and availability. It's New England Brewing Company. You probably see them throughout the Northeast. Again, here in Buffalo, New York, we're starting to see more of this stuff, especially this one. This just showed up, like I said, in the past week to 10 days. For sure, 100% know that happened. So your mileage may vary depending on where you are, but if you're in the northeastern part or like the mid-Atlantic, you probably can get your hands on New England. And price point, I think Rick said these were like $13 to $14 a six-pack. I'll be curious to see what they're here in the Buffalo, New York area. I haven't went beer shopping since I saw them show up, but when I do see them on the shelf, I wouldn't be surprised if a six-pack is more in like the $18 to $20 range, but I wouldn't be surprised if these are like $15, $16 a six-pack. Like, I mean, this beer should be between like $12 to $16 a six-pack. It should be nowadays, but everything's crazy expensive, beer included, who knows. So yeah, 6.2%, like I said, I can tell this is a lower ABV. I might mistake this I might mistake this for a pale ale if I was doing this blind. I might, just because of the malt character. It's not substantial, but it's definitely noticeable, and I feel I get that more in pale ales than IPAs. So I think I enjoy that kind of layer of complexity to this beer, actually tasting the malt. But you can't taste the alcohol at 6.2%, and that's pretty cool. And I think the 60 IBUs, I always list the IBUs at the beginning of reviews, but I never really talk about them in the beer. But like 60 IBUs, I think is appropriate for what we're tasting. Maybe this is more like the 45, 50 range, but it's not that far off. So anyway, huge thanks to Rick for this beer. I still got a bunch of beer to get to from him. I got a bunch of barrel-aged beers, some lagers from Fox Farm, and I also got a sour from New Park. I'll be getting to those over the next month or two. Maybe the barrel-aged a little longer. I might share them with friends. We'll see. But the rest I will try to get to in the next month to 6 weeks. Rick, I'm trying not to post more than one review per week per brewery. So I have like 3 Fox Farm on hand. I have like 3 I think Fox Farm barrel-aged beers. So it's like I don't want to keep on putting them out multiple times per week. So I hope you understand. But all those aren't hop forward beers. They should be fine. Anyway, huge thanks to Rick. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here in the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this one. To the next one. Cheers.